Good Friday evening to you guys. How is everyone tonight? Rosie is here. Hello, Rosalie. Hello, Denny. Denny Banani. I call her Denny Banani. Let's see. Can y'all hear me? If I got it on, I think it's on. Okay. Sharon creates. Woo woo. Jean Valet. Diamond Girl. How are you? Woo. Alicia B. Yay. Alicia B is here. Hooked by Deneen. Got out to the cottage for the, ooh, I hope it's a nice evening out there. Tucker Steve is in the house. Hey. Hello, Frozen. How are you? Sally Birch. Everybody's coming in. All right. Audio is good. Awesome. Linda. Oh, Linda, I've got a good one coming next week. Just you wait. Oh, you're going to like that one. Hello, Hooked by Suze. Good to see you. All right. So, how is everybody's Friday going so far? Well, I hope. Yep. If it's teal, it's Jill. Hello, and how are you doing, Shirley? Thank you very much. Denny. Oh, Denny. I'm not blurry. Oh, it's a rare night. Denny. Oh, thank you. You would be right. You would be right. We're going to talk about that one next Friday. I'm working on that one. Denny, did you find anything nice? But I bet you got a good deal, right? How awesome. No, it's not. It is not a new camera. I would be guessing that it's probably my internet. I don't know. Who knows? Who knows? Okay. Have you guys researched anything on the Maddie McCann? I want to say Lila McCann, and I told Alicia, I said, no, that's a singer. But I keep wanting to say that. Maddie McCann. Did anybody do any research on Maddie McCann? Yeah, it's only one window, and I think what happens is when I stick the other one in front of it, it makes this one blurry. But we'll see. Hi, Karen B. How are you doing? Ah, you did a little research. Awesome. Alicia did. Are you on the road, Steve? Just wondering. I so here's what I did. After we spoke about this, I decided to go and look for any questions you guys may have had or things that we talked about that were not really very clear. So I went back and I rewatched and I took some notes. Just so you know, I rewatched the video. Eyes on the road again. Dun, 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 dun. Listening to Leonard. Leonard Skinnard. Ooh, ooh, I'm sorry. That is yuck. Ooh. Yeah, nobody likes the dentist. I'm still waiting for my bridge to come in. It sounds funny, doesn't it? Is that like waiting for your boat to come in? Not quite. Duke's what? Oh, the Dukes. Leonard Dukes. Okay. Not following you, Tony. I'm trying though. I'm really trying. So here you guys, now if you aren't familiar with this is the Madeleine McCann case. And this little girl went missing from her resort that she was at with her parents. And that was in a place called Praia de Luz in Portugal. Oh, he's a trucker. Oh, okay. Cool. Now, this happened in, I got to go back in my notes for a second. This case took place in 2007. Okay, so this is a very old case. And one of the reasons that I was revisiting it was because some things came up about a suspect. Well, I hope. Okay, good. So they're starting to kick in for you. That's good. They usually do. The antibiotics usually make a world of difference on a sore tooth. Usually. Okay. So let me tell you guys what I wrote down in my notes on some questions. First of all, when were the parents named suspects? Was there DNA in the room? And when was the room processed? Why were there different agencies and countries involved? Can we talk more about the people that were with the McCanns? There was the question about Benadryl or something like that. There was a remark made about a birthmark in her eye. We talked a bit about the statute of limitations and some discussion around that. There was something about, did the neighbors hear a child crying? And there were also some statements made about Bruckner, the suspect that I brought up this last time. And what did they find? Were there tapes, evidence, leaked information, and all that stuff? Were there any other suspects? That was something that was asked. Someone mentioned, and I don't know if she's here, Alicia, Knitting Artisan. She mentioned something about uh, others. And I wanted to thank her if you're watching back. Hello, Tammy. Um, about explicit language or things used in reference to Maddie by the parents and stuff. So she also mentioned that there was an interview with Peter Hyatt, and I knew that Peter Hyatt had worked on this case doing some statement analysis. Okay. Awesome. Okay, now let me share. Go here. I want this one. I'm going to share my screen real quick and show you something. Now, this is showing you, this is a website. It's called Hyatt Analysis. Now, this is Peter Hyatt's webpage, okay? And he does deception training for the FBI at Quantico. Deception training. So he does have a lot of, and you can go to this. Afterwards, I'll put it underneath. I didn't prepare to put that down there before we started. Sorry. But I will try to put it below whenever I finish. Hello, Mary. Thank you for being here. Yes, Cindy. Yes, Chelsea said she would remember her name for me. Thank you, Chelsea. But we have talked quite a bit in the last few days about Peter Hyatt, so I wanted to go and tell you where you could find his website, okay? And then also, Okay, leave that there. That there. I'll put that there. Hello, Sue. Hey, Miss Southern Belle. How you doing? Yes, and he does have his own YouTube channel. So you can look him up and you can look at the things that he has analyzed. And there's a lot of really, really good stuff there. But I found a lot of very useful information when I looked up the interview that someone else did with him. And that person is called, his name is Richard Hall. Okay, and he did an interview with Peter. He came to the US specifically to interview Peter Hyatt. So I wanted to give you some of my take on what Peter Hyatt said. Okay, so first of all, let me start by saying this. Lots of notes, you guys. I want to start by saying that when Peter Hyatt analyzed the testimony, he basically said, and this is a short synopsis, and I'm going to go into more detail, that Jerry and Kate, in their statement that he analyzed, that they confessed. Okay? They said she was given something that made her very tired. She fell and hurt herself. They hid her body. And also, there is some indication in the language of possible sexual abuse by her father, and the mother is covering for him. Now, that's the little synopsis that I picked up listening to Peter Hyatt talk about this. Hello, Joanne. I'm working on my Stitch and Crime blanket, the scrap blanket, while I talk to you guys. This is the new one because Mr. Fibers won't fit up here on my station. And there's information on how to join in with us down below in the description box, or if there's not, there is on previous Stitch and Crime episodes. So here is some of what I came up with listening to Peter Hyatt. Hi, Shad. Let me show tonight's necklace, Shad. See, I am pretty clear tonight. I don't know what's up with that. I like it, though. Yes. Yes, Shirley. Oh, cool. Some of you may be noticing that you have new blue skirts on. Just saying. Congratulations. I appreciate you. Okay. So going to our updates on what I just mentioned as we had questions of, okay? When were the parents named suspects? Was there DNA in the room? And when was the room processed? So first of all, none of that really is going to make any difference. They were named suspects and then they were taken off the suspect list. The room was not processed when this event first happened. Most likely because the police at that time, even though they went straight to considering it a abduction according to what the parents had told them, I don't think that they believed them and did not process the room. They didn't feel a need to. It did get processed later, but not right away. So, first of all, that room was a rental, and there would have been a lot of DNA in that room. What I did find out was that the room was searched, and we will get into that in a little bit. So, why were there different agencies involved? Now, Bruckner, the suspect that I spoke of, Bruckner was from Germany, and that is why Germany was involved. Scotland Yard was involved because the McCanns were from England, and Portugal is where it happened. And that is why you had 3 different agencies involved in this. Now, we'll talk a little bit in a little while about the people that were with the McCanns. I'll move past that and I'll come back to it. I'll come back to the Benadryl, the spot on her eye. She had a spot, Nick, it was on her iris of one eye, and it was very close to the iris. So it was like towards the like at the bottom of the iris, and it made it look like a little birthmark on there. So that is a thing. The statute of limitations, we covered that last time, but it was basically that Portugal has a 15-year statute of limitations. And I believe that most of the things that were brought up about Bruckner were probably because they needed to stop that statute of limitations where they could continue to gather evidence. And I feel like Bruckner, in a way, is kind of like Keegan Kline with the Delphi murders, because they have Keegan Kline in custody. They said they had DNA. They have not arrested him. They have not arrested his father. So if he had anything to do with it, you would think that he would be arrested. So my thing is, they're probably fishing him for information. I feel like this is the same thing that's going on with Bruckner. Okay. Now a lot of the other questions I can answer by telling you that I looked at the statement analysis, okay? But before I go on, and I know that this is going to upset some people, so if you are sensitive, this is a trigger warning, okay? They brought in cadaver dogs, you guys. And the cadaver dogs picked up on scent. Now, the only thing that they would have picked up on as a cadaver dog would be a dead body, okay? Or the evidence that one had been there. They picked up on a scent next to the bed, between the bed and the closet in that spot, and also behind a couch under a window. Those are the 2 places that they picked up on. This is a big thing. I had no idea that this happened, but it did. So Okay, now let me check some things. What do we... Something doesn't make sense? I'm sorry. Can you tell me some more? The statute of limitations is on the murder. Well, it's on the case. Not on murder, but on the case. So Portugal has a statute of limitations on the cases themselves. That was my understanding. Now, y'all can tell me if I'm wrong on that, but hi, Jeannie. And what is this one? Okay, what is this? What is the blue thing? I'm not getting what the blue reference is. That's true. Do we know? Hello, Alice. We are recapping Madeleine McCann. They were trying to say that, any kind of evidence when it comes to search dogs are usually... Oh, thank you. Thank you, Joan, or Sharon. That it's not always accepted in court. There's several things that are not always accepted in court, and that is and it depends on the jurisdictions, from what I understand, but that's one of them. The statement analysis is another thing that's not always accepted in court. Some jurisdictions they are. Handwriting is another fringe science thing that people that are not always accepted in court. So there's lots of different reasons why it may not even be brought up, to put it frankly. Absolutely, yeah. I think a defense attorney definitely would go there. Absolutely. Okay, so the people that were with the McCanns, they had a lot of credibility simply because they were all doctors. There was one lawyer, and there was one that was a family member of one of the doctors. So pretty well established group of people, okay? And well, that's the way I feel about it. The media and the newspapers, the media, and even some of the police in the police department considered this group of people a pact. They began calling them the pact. They felt like they were covering for the McCanns and covering for themselves. Now, why would they do that? First of all, they all had children, and they were all staying in the same place. So if the children were, if there was some sort of neglect that happened amongst one couple, they would all be scrutinized. So I would say that was part of their pact. The other part of it comes in a minute when I talk about what Peter Hyatt said. One of the ladies, she was the wife of one of the other doctors. Her name is Jane, and she is the one who claimed to have seen a man carrying a child. Now, I have some issues with this. In part of the interview with the McCanns, Kate McCann is very quick to say that the place where they were eating was only 49 meters. She's only 49 meters from where the apartment was. Okay. Okay, so she must have Googled it. She finds it extremely important that you know that, because that brings more merit to her story about being so close. The children were all in different units, so in their own apartment or room, so to speak. Now, this story by Jane was that she saw a man carrying a small child with blonde hair, appeared to be a small child with blonde hair, and that a man was carrying this child and walking away from the condo as she was going towards it to go check on the children. It was her turn to go check on the children, she said. However, she was not able to tell what this person looked like. Okay. She couldn't tell what he looked like. But she saw that, right? But her story kept changing. And every time that it changed, she remembered new details. She remembered different things. And when she remembered, it would be different than what she said before. Changed all the time. Uh-oh, I'm jumping around. Hi, Berna. Hello, anyone coming in? I'm going to take a drink. What are y'all having tonight? I've got back to coffee, regular coffee. No additives on that one, just the creamer and coffee. Yeah. Yeah, she knew that. You can Google it, she says. So there was a group of these people that were with the McCanns, along with the McCanns. So not everybody that was in the group, but just part of them and the McCanns were in an interview in a room with a man named Robert Murat. The police had named Robert Murat as a suspect early on in the investigation. Now, Robert Murat, and this answers the question about were there any other suspects, okay? Hello, Genevieve. Welcome to you. Ah. Lots of good drinks there. Robert Murat was a person who was an expatriate from Britain that was living there on that island. He was currently staying in that, well, he had bought a home there. He had bought a condo, an apartment or something there. And he was around very, very much around when Madeleine went missing. And they came to find out that he was there on the night she went missing. He was there at the restaurant. And all of these people, which is interesting about Jane's story, because all of these people were saying that they saw Robert Murat at the restaurant that night when Madeleine went missing. And, he was there putting up flyers and talking to the reporters and talking to police and talking to people all over there and all of these things. He was volunteering, okay? So they pegged him, and there was a lot of rumor about him. And honestly, I did not see anything official that came out other than him being interviewed and being looked at. They also went in and they got a warrant for his the place, his home. They searched his home. They searched uh, his vehicle. They took his. They really dogged this man. But to be honest, they didn't come up with anything. They didn't find anything on him. Hey, Dawn Marie, welcome. Thank you. So, really nothing there. And my question about Jane is, if she saw a man that she could say had a blonde child, was walking away, she couldn't say what that man looked like, but yet she could peg Robert Murat for having been in this restaurant. And she didn't say, if she knew for sure who this Robert Murat was, why couldn't she say that that was who she saw carrying the child? You know, it's all very convoluted. All of their stories were very convoluted. And not only that, but the people who worked in the restaurant were like, I don't understand if they said that they were all leaving, because they all said that they left within 30-minute increments. So 30 minutes and one would go, and then 30 minutes later a different one would go, and they'd all go back and forth and go check on the children. Okay. Yes, please hit the thumbs up, guys. I appreciate that. And if that's the case, if they're going back and forth to the room, the McCann said that they left the sliding door unlocked. Now, why? Couldn't they? I mean, these are people they are trusting. You know, in some interviews, they said that they were all bathing each other's children. They must have trusted them enough to do that. Why could they have not trusted them with their key? Here's my key, you go check. Here's my key, you go check. Makes no sense to me why the sliding door would have to have been left open. That doesn't make sense either. Hey, Laura. Okay. That's what I've got up until the point in which I discovered the analysis by Peter Hyatt. Okay. Yep. What a world. All right. What a world we live in. Coffee. Any questions so far? Hey, Lori. I didn't see you sneak in over here. I still haven't been back to. I meant to go over. I do want to say this, though. Everyone that sent me a birthday wish, a card, a messenger, an email, and all of the wonderful wishes on Facebook. Thank you all so very much for my birthday wishes. I really, really appreciate it. Yeah. I've never understood that one. Okay. Exactly. Oh, good. Good. We got some thumbs. Good. Well, the parents were saying that they were rotating, that they were going back and forth. Well, the people at the restaurant and at that staff, the staff at that restaurant that they were at, they said that didn't really match. At some point, and also at some point, when the parents said that they were going and taking their turns, their first statement, they said that this one at this one at this, and then when they went back, they changed their statement again and said, no, I went here and then I went here. They would have all, at one point, they would have all been gone from the table with nobody at the table. And the staff said that never happened. And the stuff they were saying that the families were saying never happened. The staff never saw that. And they're waiting on them. They were there for, hours. Thank you. My Aunt Linda got it for me. She someone had made it and she had purchased it, and she she gave it to me because I taught her how to arm knit, and so she gave me this because it's all teal. Yes, yesterday. That's okay. Thank you. Not I. I don't know if anybody else has. Anybody ever crocheted a holster? Okay. Trying to figure out which way my notes went. Now I'm going to go back to what I got from Peter Hyatt's interview. Okay. And I will leave the link to his interview down below also, you guys. I'll leave the link to Peter Hyatt's website. I'll leave a link to the interview that I'm talking about, and anything else that I need to, I will put on there after this goes live. Number one, during the interview in which Peter Hyatt did the statement analysis, Jerry and Kate never showed any kind of concern for a missing child, let alone their missing child. Okay. So normally when a child is missing, you're going to be very distraught. You're going to not sleep. You're going to be out there trying to look for her. You're going to be doing a lot of things. You're going to be up the police's butt trying to get somebody to pay attention. You're going to go to the media. You're going to do, they did not show concern, as in the language they used. They did not say, I just, I hope she's okay. We don't know, if she's warm, if somebody's taking care of her. No concern whatsoever for her. No concern at all. And then they showed a lot of concern, just their language alone showed concern for themselves. So more about how they didn't do anything. So they this and they that, and nothing about Madeleine. They tell us in their statement a lot of things about what didn't happen. Okay? What didn't happen. What didn't happen is a finite amount of things. They don't tell us what did happen, which is a finite amount of things. That was a very interesting statement that Peter made that stuck with me. they found the need to persuade the audience, to persuade them that she was abducted. Because when a child goes missing, parents don't really know what happened to the child. The child is missing. They don't know what happened. Right away, Jerry and Kate say she was taken. They tried very hard to sell you on the fact that she was abducted. Yes, and the McCann and the Wells situation is very interesting, and we may go into this later on a different live, but just know that abductions are rare. Not that they don't happen, not that there's not a lot of them, but they're rare. I know that sounds okay. A lot, like there is a number of them. But if you look at how many children go missing, the amount of those children that were actually abducted is rare. Only out of 65% of children under the age of 13, so 65% of the children under the age of 13 are actually killed by a family member. And the amount of children that actually have been abducted is 0.011. Now wait for a minute, let that sink in. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes. Child would wander off and go looking. Yes, that's true. So they were selling that story from the very, very beginning. Yeah, that's some numbers, right? We'll get into those numbers more later on down the road, but yeah, 0.11% are actually abducted by strangers. I'll have more numbers for you later. Okay, so another thing that happened during this interview with Kate and Jerry is that Kate brings in a deity. Now, what I mean by that, she says, my God, if I had known, maybe we could have done something, right? Because her statement alone does not carry enough merit. She has to bring a deity in order to bring more merit and credibility to what she is saying, because her statement alone is not enough. So Kate said she was really tired, and she says it's very vivid in my mind. She was very tired. We cuddled, we read a book, and we had treats. So the fact that she says that is telling you I'm a good mom. Okay? That's what she's saying there. We did all these things. I'm a good mom. And she said, normal things. The need to say that it was all normal means that it was anything but normal. She also said that they did the normal things, like teeth brushing and such. This is where according to what Peter Hyatt was saying, that when someone brings in that feels the need to tell you about teeth brushing like that, it's a sign in the language. That type of language is a sign of some abuse. So when people do a lot of hand washing, when people are obsessive teeth brushers, all of those things and they feel the need, because it's stuff that we do every day, right? If they feel the need to tell you about it, there's something around that. Okay, because that's a very mundane thing to talk about. And also, and we'll talk about this down the road when we talk about language, but usually with something that she used, usually suggests a pattern, which means usually we did this, we did that. So that also suggests that there's a possibility that giving her something to sleep was not the first time. That's a pattern. When Kate said that it was vivid in her mind, you guys, I've been learning a little bit about this and about the brain and how the brain processes things and all that kind of stuff. And some of it's sticking. I'm working on it. Still a lot of learning to do. It's very interesting to me, though. But the vivid comes into play because when someone says they have a vivid memory of something, it happened when the adrenaline was pumping. The fight or flight is what happens. When that woman, when the child is discovered that she's missing, it's right at that moment, that fight or flight. That's when that is most sticks in your head. The things that you see, the things that you hear, the things that you smell, all of that is really, it's right in that frontal lobe where that happens. And all of those things are a part of the fight or flight. That's when all that adrenaline is happening. And those are the things that are going to stick in her mind and be vivid. And what was it she said? She was very tired. We cuddled. So it's possible that she was the one that was holding her when she died or after she died. And now, Steve, there were 3 children, which is another strange thing also, that only one child was missing. There were twins, a boy-girl twins, and Madeleine. The twins were younger. Hi, Kat. I am picking up a lot, Karen. I really am. I have learned so much, and I'm really surprised it's sticking with me because um, I do have but I guess it's because I'm so very interested also in this stuff. Now, I'm going to show you guys a little bit. I'll show you guys a little bit of this interview if you would like to see the interview with Peter Hyatt. Would anybody like to see that? And then we can talk more about what you guys want to talk about. If you want to talk some more about this. I want to find the place in here that it's called an embedded confession. Okay. Let me find the spot. Give me a moment. Talk amongst yourselves while I look for it. Almost found it. Hi, Jeannie T. Hi, Laura. This is interesting. Let me play this little bit for you. I may have to back it up if I need to. So this is Peter Hyatt, and this is where he is talking to part of this. Now, this entire interview is over 2 hours long. Uh-oh. Ah, Chelsea's smelling hot, got that Hobby Lobby smell still in her nose. Are you guys ready? Here we go. So here is the statement. It says, I know exactly where the table. Okay, yeah, let me go back a little bit for some reference on that. Let's go back to here.
And the room just did magically open itself up and said, look at the evidence. She's lying. Not only was she distraught, but she was clearly distraught. In other words,
my bad. I hit it accidentally, you guys.
Her affect of being distraught was beyond any debate. So I want you to know that when my child was missing, my wife was really, really, really upset. That's goofy. And that's what this is. It's a need to persuade. That sounds, to the average listener, that sounds goofy. And I jumped up. We did not think that you stopped for a cigarette. We did not think you said, okay, let me have dessert first. This is also unnecessary language. And then he says, kind of disbelief. I believe him. Because he knows it's not true. He knows what he's doing is narrative telling. And so the first thing he's going to say is, where is she? We must find her. No. I believe that the last time he saw her, he did linger. And he did think about how beautiful she was. I think this is where she was disposed of. And I'll build this theme as we go along. All right.
Last time you saw her, you thought how lucky you were.
Exactly. And that bothered me because that's very poor interviewing. That's why we train journalists to not teach someone how to lie. Because the problem with that is he did not think about how lucky he was unless something was wrong. And that's, I can't say that he thought how lucky I was. He only affirms it what the interviewer said. The interviewer should not have said such a thing. The interviewer is speaking as if the interviewer believes the child is dead. If you have no guilty knowledge of your missing child and you leave the child to go to dinner, you're not going to have that type of nostalgic thoughts. You're just going to dinner and, we'll miss her back shortly and everything will be fine. You don't have those type of thoughts. Having those type of thoughts is an indication of guilty knowledge that Madeleine's gone.
Your world shattered within an hour.
We now have a period of time, and we also have a case of distancing language where he didn't say, my world is shattered. If my daughter was missing, my world is shattered. Not your world, not someone else's world, not everyone's world, because everyone experiences this universally. My world is shattered. I'm the father. What's going on with Madeleine right now? No concern. What I'm building towards is this. The reason why McCanns do not show any concern for what Madeline is experiencing right now. They're intelligent people. There are no dummies here. They're intelligent people. They're not concerned. Parents are forever concerned because even Stephen King said, the terrors that a parent's mind can conjure up in wondering what my children are going through is more horrible than anything he could write. Our imaginations double down on us when we try to sleep, worrying about every little slip, every little fall of our children go through. They have shown no concern in the most extreme of circumstances. Why not? And they're going to answer that question for me. So Jerry, as a biological father, is telling us that his world isn't shattered. Your world is. That's distancing language.
At 10 p.m., it was Kate's turn to look in on the kids.
At that point, I expect to hear, I got there, and Madeleine was gone. That's it's not a discovery. It is a traumatic, personal, up-close personal, extreme event that puts hormone levels so high that if they don't recede quickly, there's going to be PTSD. In other words, the hormonal response of finding your child missing is going to be so extreme that in a few moments, you're not going to be able to reason the emotions down, the hormones down. If you're driving your car, and as you're driving, someone cuts you off, and you grab your wheel, and you can feel the flush of hormones. You feel it physically. It's a physiological reaction. You say to yourself, I'm okay, and your hands begin to loosen. The blood goes back towards the blood flow that initially went out to protect you, and the hormones recede in just a few moments, maybe a second or two, even less than a second. If that hormonal response were to stay elevated for more than a few seconds, it is very likely that 30 years from now, you're going to wake up screaming because the brain has imprint on it. If you walked through the door and found your child missing, the hormonal response is so extreme, and there's no reasoning it down, that parent will suffer for the rest of the parent's life, even if the child is found safely a week later. 30 years later, the parent will still wake up screaming because the imprint on the brain, the inability for the brain to process the most powerful of human emotions of mother-child bonding, it can't happen properly. And so we can mitigate it by trying to get them to process it. Journaling is very helpful, but it is so intense. And that's why the vividness is so powerful. And it's physiological. When you're under attack, when something like that happens, your pupils will dilate, you go on high alert, blood will flow to and from certain parts of your body, your legs will become stronger so you can run. The blood goes away from the internal organs so that if you're knifed, you have a better chance of surviving. The hairs, people say the hair on the back of my neck stood up. It's actually true. Piloerection, it's called. It is some kind of built-in mechanism to make us look bigger and stronger. Those are the type of reactions that you will have if you find, or I will have, if I find my child being missing. She tells us I had that type of reaction with the conclusion that everything was normal. You can't have it both ways. This is a disconnect that means she's not speaking from experiential memory. She's using certain points of the account, stitching it together in an overall deceptive account.
The bedroom door where the 3 children were sleeping was open much further than we'd left it. I went to close it to about here, and then as I got to here, it suddenly slammed. And then as I opened it, it was then that I just thought, I'll just look at the children. And literally as I went back in, the curtains of the bedroom, which were drawn, were closed. It was like a gust of wind, kind of just blew them open.
This is not a sophisticated liar. This is a silly story where my child is missing, and I'm talking about the curtains and blowing and all sorts of emotions. That's where someone who was a police officer, even without terrific training, will say, this is storytelling. This is storytelling. Well,
It's a lot of narrative is what he's trying to tell you. There's a lot of narrative going on around what actually happened and not really telling you anything.
Narrative building, and what she's doing is she's giving the inclusion of emotions, besides many other indicators of problems within the house, including the door. The bedroom door where the three children, not my kids, that's distancing language there, were sleeping, was open much further than I'd left it. That's not what she says. We left it. Does that mean that she and her husband each took a hand and moved the door to a certain level together? Because that's what she wants me to believe. She's lying. This is deception. The fact that she's using door for deception is because she's building a narrative about a kidnapping. The need to build a narrative about kidnapping says the child wasn't kidnapped. That plainly. And literally, as I went back in, the curtains of the bedroom, which were drawn, were closed. It was like a gust of wind blew upon them. She's asking you to enter into an emotional, fictitious account. This is the writing of fiction. This is something that even Statement Analysis 101 would be able to grab on. So I conclude here, deception indicated from this alone.
And you mentioned here again, doors.
So you guys, what was interesting to me is watching her do that. I felt like she was lying just watching that video. Okay. So it was interesting to me that when he went back and added that other layer of, and where you write down what she said and then analyzing it. And it's a very good thing that you can do this, you guys. If someone says something, you're like, what did they say? Write it down and then look at it and then analyze it to see what it is actually saying. Yeah. His name is Peter Hyatt. If someone could explain. Okay. This is Richard Hall that's interviewing him.
Windows are often found within language of sexual abuse.
Yeah, I'm concerned. I'm concerned. This is not a normal there are verbal indicators, and it doesn't necessarily mean that Madeleine was a victim of sexual abuse. What it could be is in the language of Kate that she was sexually abused while she was growing up. This would leave her vulnerable for things such as neglect. And if you take that the next step, someone that has been sexually abused in childhood who is now vulnerable to neglecting her own children, possibly even failure to protect if someone else, like her husband, was involved in sexual abuse, we would find the need to persuade us, I'm a great mom. We were cuddling. The reason I indicated deception with that statement about cuddling is because whenever someone says, we call it the I love you factor. I kissed my kids, told them I loved them, and went to bed. Everyone kisses their kids and says, I love you, go to bed. When you see that in a criminal statement, they're telling you something is really wrong between me and the kids. So her need to persuade about the cuddling, if you consider it carefully, you must be open to the fact that she may have been holding a lifeless body. As a need to persuade, oh, this was cuddling.
I just wanted to address this. Thank you so much, Kimberly. I know, but I had no intention of leaving that particular chat up last night from my birthday because I was playing music in that just for fun and just for my birthday. So I did not leave that live on the channel because I got a copyright claim on that music, which I knew that I would. So it had to be deleted. So that is why you are probably finding it in your notification, but it's not there anymore. And that's why it's doing that. But thank you very much. I appreciate it.
This answer, by the way, was one of the most important answers because here we were able to look at the larger measurement of the statement of what happened as she gets into it. And this is a very lengthy introduction. She's not getting to the point of telling us that Madeleine is missing and what must she be going through. She is narrative building, even if we just measured it with the scientific measurement of our formula of 25% introduction, 50% content, 25% afterwards, she is heavily delaying getting to the point and giving lots of unnecessary details. Where do we have more detail? On what Madeleine is going through or on the windows?
And the curtains, which had been closed, just swung open into the room and revealed that the shutter was all the way up and the window had been pushed right across. And then I just knew she'd been taken.
By the way, when they did process the room, they found a handprint on the inside of that window that she is talking about, as in it was pushed out from the inside. Just a point of fact. Hey, there you are. I found this video that you had been talking about. Thank you so much for letting me know.
She goes to a conclusion of the matter and she goes into present tense language. This is an intelligent woman. She knows how to use verb tenses. When someone is committed to something that happened, I came to the building, not I come to the building. Well, here we have a continued description about the curtains, which is concerning to me. Just swung open into the room and revealed that the shutter was all the way up. So if we want to believe what she's going to say is that the reason that she knows that someone had been taken out is because she walked into the room and the room just magically opened itself up and said, look at the evidence. She's lying. This tells us Madeleine was not kidnapped.
Kate says after a quick, frantic search of the apartment, she ran back towards Jerry, who was still with their friends at the table by the pool.
I remember exactly where the table was, just kind of so right here, and I was kind of sitting into it. Yeah, Kate's clearly distraught and I jumped off. it, it's kind of disbelief. She can't be gone. It can't possibly. How could she be gone? And I've saying that to Kate as we were both running.
Deception indicated, and here's why. First of all, we have him making an assertion. I know where the table was. I know exactly where the table was. So he's giving us an indication. I'm on high alert. Same what she had done before. And then, with this precise language, he immediately moves away from it. It was kind of, not qualifies it this bit, so it would be about around here. And I was kind of sitting in this bit. So going from this is a form of self-censoring. He's stopping himself from going to this precise way he has a need to conceal. He then describes his wife's emotion. Kate was clearly distraught. Now consider this. If your child is missing, you're going to be distraught. Telling us that she's distraught is narrative. It's not necessary to say. I didn't think that she stopped to smoke a cigarette and to look at how beautiful the stars were in the sky. Of course she'd be distraught. Telling us that she was distraught is unnecessary, therefore it's very important. But he now looks to persuade me. Not only was she distraught, but she was clearly distraught. In other words,
I'm going to move it forward just a little.
Brain knows what happened. He now has to go into the brain and talk about what happened, but not give it away. It's really difficult because he might choose some of the wrong words by accident. So he focuses on a table, and then he stumbles on it because it's such a ridiculous point. He's using a diversion tactic because it's necessary. So what we do is we say, well, here's a diversion tactic. Why would the dad of a missing little girl need to make such effort to divert attention away from what happened?
The night seemed so long, every second was excruciating, and it was dark, and he just wanted to be light and anybody searching and found.
This particular statement itself is very concerning. First of all, we'd ask the question, for who?
So you just want it to be light. You just want to find her. Not we want to find her. It was long. It was what happened to her. We don't know where she is. We don't know what has happened to her. We don't know. None of that stuff was said.
Was this night so long and so excruciating? Okay. Or if we want to listen to her words, it was not even for Kate. It was for you. Listen to what she says. Believe what she says. The night seemed so long. Every second was excruciating. And it was dark, and you just want there to be light. Not she. Not her as a mother. But by the way, was it excruciating for Madeleine to be taken? She shows concern for you or herself and nothing for the child. A parental instinct is so powerful that we've used it in judicial courts since time out of mind. Going back to the Solomonic courts, your Bible lessons, where two women gave birth to children and one woman rolled over and suffocated the child.
Sorry. Messing with it a minute. It's not going to work. Why did I put the camera on top?
And they each claimed custody of the living child. Neither wanted custody of the dead child. And it went all the way to Solomon's court. And people who know the story said Solomon said, bring me a sword, cut the living child in half, and give them each half their baby. Solomon had no intention of committing murder. What Solomon had done was repeated both women's arguments. The woman who actually gave birth to the child said, let her, the liar, have the child. Let my child live. And everyone was able to see that's really the mother. He was exploiting maternal instinct. Prior to that, he simply repeated their arguments. And listen very carefully, especially as it comes out in Hebrew. It's very simple. This mother says, the dead child is hers, the living child is mine. She mentioned the dead child first. That's what people do. They mention their own first. But this mother says, no, the living child is mine, the dead child is hers. She mentioned the living child first because it's her child. When no one understood that, when no one was listening to the order in which someone spoke, then Solomon called for the sword and said, cut the baby in half and give them each half, without any intention of murder. The maternal instinct came forward, everyone knew. They would have known before the sword was taken if they just listened to each mother. So I ask you to listen to this mother, and listen to her carefully. The night seemed so long. For whom? Every second was excruciating. For whom? It was dark, and you just want there to be light. Okay? Let's find out what you want. Let's look at the order. You want there to be light, you want everybody searching, and you want Madeleine found.
You do, not them.
The priority is light for you, everybody searching, and Madeleine found. Madeleine is the last thing in her priority. As a matter of fact, this statement shows that someone was living in excruciating pain. Someone was living in excruciating length of time, impatience. But here is where we expect her to show what Madeleine is going through. Where is her teddy bear? Where is her favorite blanket? Where is her favorite toy? Not a single word of concern. Now, why would she give last in her priority Madeleine being found? I ask your audience to consider. She doesn't want Madeleine found. Any parent, innocent parent, would want that first and foremost. She instead turns to lights, and that would be more further insight psychologically to their own thinking. But her order tells us that the last in her priority is having Madeleine found. We also see that the emotion that's used is narrative, but it's also focused towards her. However, in the pronoun you, even that she doesn't take ownership of. I think it was an excruciating night, and I think that her concern for herself is genuine because this is what I'm building towards. There's no concern for Madeleine by a biological mother and by a biological father. Madeleine is dead. Madeleine is beyond concern. Madeleine is beyond help. There's no more fretting or worrying for Madeleine. And that's what's in this statement. Is Madeleine crying? Does she have her favorite teddy bear? Is she getting her meds? Is she calling out for me, the mother? Is Madeleine in excruciating pain? What must Madeleine be experiencing in the hands of strangers? These are all things that were not in their language.
Yeah.
And this is consistent. This is not just one interview. These people have always been focused upon themselves. They have always given an indication that Madeleine will not be found alive, if found at all, and that Madeleine being found is not something they want to happen. Their concern is always for themselves, because Madeleine doesn't need concern any longer. The past tense reference is one thing that indicates death, but this is the most powerful part of the analysis, is that they're telling us Madeleine is dead. And I know that people wonder if there was a kidnapping, if they were sold into sex rings, child sex rings, and these things do exist. That's not what's in the parents' language. So I can only say what's in that language. I'm letting them guide me. I'm letting them dictate to me my opinion by the words that they're choosing. And they're actually going to give us more detail. Richard, they're going to confess.
You think so? Or you mean in the subtext of the interview? You don't mean literally, do you?
They're in this statement, we're going to see what we call a statement analysis confession. They actually admit to us what happened.
Did you kill your daughter?
No, that's an emphatic no. I mean, the ludicrous thing is what's been purported from Portugal is that Madeleine died in the apartment by an accident and we hid her body. Well, when did she have the accident and died? Because the only time she was left unattended was when we were at dinner. So if she died then, how could we have disposed of her, hidden her body, when there was an immediate threat? It's just nonsense. So, and if she died when we were in the apartment or fell and did something, why would we cover that up?
And this is what we call the embedded confession.
Okay.
This is where the guilty party.
This is what I was talking about. I'll play this part and then we'll be done with this because it goes on for quite a while. Yes, here it is. This is his theory, you guys. Trying to find the play button.
Will put together in their own language what happened. And we need to listen and believe them. We also have the principle of them asking questions. This is very important. They're asking questions to find out how their answers will be responded to. Will it be ridicule? Will it be acceptance? Will it sound sane? Will it help get them off the hook? Listen very carefully to what they say. It's a yes or no question. Did you kill your daughter? No is a good answer. And what I teach investigators to do is when someone is asked a yes or no question is to count on their fingers the number of words following the word no. No. That's an emphatic no. And obviously it goes into the point where it goes beyond your 10 fingers. When it goes that long, very simply speaking, there is a need to persuade. So the no is not going to stand on itself. If he said, no, I didn't kill my daughter and I'm telling you the truth, this would be something very strong. And we have to ask about her. And we'd also have to ask, did something cause your daughter's death? That sort of thing. But here, no, that's an emphatic no. The first thing we know about his denial is that his denial, from his perspective, needs some help. It's weak. That's an emphatic no. So the first thing is no, okay, an emphatic no. My no needs emphasis. Why does it need to be emphasis? Is one. I mean, the ludicrous thing is what I suppose what's been purported from Portugal is that Madeleine died in the apartment by accident and we hid her body. Okay. What he tells us here is Madeleine died in the apartment, his words, by an accident, which would support the pronoun we that we heard between mother and child, and we hid her body. I believe him. The reason I say this is an embedded confession is because he is not entering any other language. He's not quoting anyone. For instance, if I said, well, you said that I killed her, that's not an embedded confession because I'm actually quoting you. Here, he's not only is he not quoting anyone, he's only saying what's been purported, not even an accusation. And we need to be listening to him. This now tells me, as an analyst, Madeleine died in the apartment. So I know from their language thus far that Madeleine is not alive. They are in need of an alibi. The death was not intended, and the location of the death is in the apartment. And again, by accident. And then I know something else now. I know that we hid the body. Jerry and his wife, the two McCanns together, they worked together to hide her body. Then he goes into questions, and this is where guilty parties are looking to see what a response is. They're disguised as rhetorical questions, but they want to see what people respond to them as. This takes place even in the interview process. Well, when did she have the accident and died? Okay, what they want to know is, do people know the exact time of death? Because the only time she was left unattended is not the only time we left her. He's now removing himself from that. Left unattended is passive. Was when we, which shows unity between him and his wife, were at dinner. So if she died then, which this is, we call this an allowance. The father of a missing child is allowing for a scenario that denial would not allow. There's no natural denial. He's saying if she died, then, not even if she was dead, which is itself a red flag, but now about a specific time. How could we have disposed, hidden her body? The word disposed and then hidden, the change there, actually shows respect for Madeleine. The softer terminology, not dump the body, and he even changes dispose, the self-correction from dispose to hidden. He now tells us that they didn't dispose the body, they actually hid it. This is why, and this confirms the priority. We want there to be light, We want there to be searching. By the way, we also want them to find Madeleine. But it's last on my list of priorities. So I now know that Madeleine is dead. Madeleine died in the apartment. And listen to his questions. When did we do this? How did we do this? You know, when there's an immediate, it's just nonsense, self-censoring again. And if she died when we were in the apartment.
Did you guys catch that when he said he was self-censoring? If she died, then how could we have? Well, no. Where does he say that? It's nonsense. And if she died when we were in the apartment or fell and then he stopped, he self-censored before he spoke the rest of it.
Or fell and died. Why would we cover that up? Okay, that's the most important question he asks. So he now introduces something else that may have happened. Madeleine fell. I am concerned and remain concerned that Madeleine may have been drugged in any way, shape, or form, whether it be nighttime cough syrup or something more, so that these people could go and have their dinner and their party and get their break and all that. That Madeleine awoke and fell and got injured, and the injury was beyond.
Can I just interject with a question, Peter?
Sure.
When he's saying, he's alluding to the fact that he doesn't think they would have had time on that particular evening to deal with the body. Could that suggest that there's been pre-planning and the meal was orchestrated to allow for a window for their phantom abductor? And he's confident that he can show the audience that there's not enough time for them to have done that. So in other words, it's possibly happened at a previous time.
Yes, it is possible. And the focus on time, which he doubles up on, opens that door up now for us. Right. We have to consider it. Intention, it hasn't changed. In other words, that this death was not intended is not changed by this. But the fact that they do, or he does, in his language, focus so much on time, we must now be open to the possibility that he has a confidence about this time frame because it happened at a different time frame. So the answer is yes. What he's doing is he's affirming every other point of analysis. So what I said earlier, that we look at little point here, little point there, he's now summed it up for us. The reason why this father does not show any concern about what Madeleine is going through is because Madeleine is beyond experiencing anything that he would need to be concerned about. They hid her body. That's what they did, according to his language. But I don't think we should dismiss quickly that he introduced falling. She was very tired, Kate said. They had left her for their own. And so he asked the question, why would we cover this up? And the answer is quite simple. We have professional people who have 2 other children, an unintentional death. You're going to lose custody of the children.
Another motive might be if there had been signs of abuse.
Yes.
That would come up in the hospital.
In the inquiry, sure. He, as a medical professional, in any way, they are very likely to have knowledge of child abuse because it's just part of that profession where they deal with that. Now, we have some indications there that would need much further exploration for possible sexual abuse. And there is a risk of the consequences for an unintended death. That's number 1. Risk of losing the other children, number 2. And then, as you point out, when Child Protective Services sends in a professional to investigate, every case is explored for sexual abuse, whether there's allegations or not. All indicators of all possible abuses are explored for. Neglect, physical abuse, emotional abuse, sexual abuse are going to be explored for in every case. Because we have some linguistic indicators, which could be them as parents, it could be them as abusers, it could be him as an abuser, it could be her failure to protect. We have to explore for it. The consequences could go on more than just losing custody of the twins. it could be loss of freedom. When a guilty person asks questions, they're floating out alibis. They're looking to see what sounds plausible. And in his question, he says, well, when did she have the accident? Not a accident, the accident, and died. The only time she was left unattended was when we were at dinner. So, which is establishing his alibi, if she died then, how could we have disposed of hidden her body? Now, it's interesting, when some people ask questions like that, they don't always get the answers they want to hear. We had here in the United States a baseball player who was accused of using performance-enhancing drugs named Roger Clemens. And under oath, he said, if I have all these performance-enhancing drugs, it would mean that someone supplied them. Who is this? Who supplied them? I wish he would come forward. So he asked who supplied them, and then he made a wish. The man who supplied him with the performance-enhancing drugs came forward and fulfilled his wish and testified against him. So as by asking a question, they're trying to portray it as if it's not plausible while they're giving out information and admitting what happened. This is an embedded confession and statement analysis. This is not the quote of someone else accusing them. This is what was purported to come out from Portugal. What he's saying to you is Portugal police know. They may make various statements, but the investigators on the ground, if we were to talk to them, the ones that first responded, they would tell you exactly what they feel about this case, and I think it would be right here, that it's a cover-up.
And that gets even more ludicrous, that we've obviously hidden her somewhere incredibly well, where nobody's found her.
I believe what she's telling me. I believe that, first of all, the word obvious means to accept without question, and I am following it. That we've obviously, it's obvious to, and this is a concern of hers, that people recognize they've hidden her somewhere incredibly well where nobody's found her. Now, consider this. This is supposed to be from a mother of a missing child who is spending a lot of time defending herself, trying to ridicule the accusations, instead of pleading for her safe return and talking about what she's going through. Again, there is no concern for what Madeleine is going through by biological parents, close relatives, the closest relatives.
Okay, that's enough for now. You guys, I will leave a link for that video. And I did want to mention that that particular video that I was showing the excerpts from, this thing doesn't want to, I've got to readjust my arm on this. The arm's being a little funky. This interview was from 2016. Just want to put that in perspective for you. And Peter himself says that there are times when they do statements and then they will be asked to do statements farther down into the investigation, which will change perspective a little bit, but it still adds more information to what he's already analyzed. It is very informative. So I did not know that it hit on their trunk. I did not find that. So that's a possibility too. It's hard to say exactly how it happened. It's difficult to say how it happened, but it's the analyzation of what they're saying, which tells you what they're not saying also. So there's a lot there. Okay, thank you. I appreciate you turning me on to this video. It was very informative. So I appreciate it. So you guys, I have something to open here. If you guys would like to see me open, I got something in the mail from Chelsea today. So who would like to see that? Yeah. Being doctors. That's another thing. Being doctors. I did. I got a box. Chelsea sent me a box. Yeah, I talked to her earlier. Okay, hold on. Oh, I'll just do it here. I was gonna do it under the camera, but I'll do it here. Where's my opener? I tell you, the heat. Just so you know, Chelsea, the heat on this box, the heat made the tape come kind of loose on this box. Oh, what is in there? Are you telling me to wait till you get home so the boys can see? So I'll start with this. I love this color and I love this bag. I'm so excited. This is how we roll. Don't you love this bag? I love it. I love the size of these bags too. Okay, she says go ahead. Oh. Oh, look how cute. They're cute. There's something in here. Oh, I know. I think I know what's in here. Oh, I think I'm hitting my mouse. Oh, that's beautiful. I'm going to do, Chelsea and I talked about this, and I'm going to do something with this. That is gorgeous. Because it has a strange closure on it. And I don't know how well you can see, but that's a pink pearl. And she can't wear this because of this strange deal on the back side of it. This is a ring. See how that is there? It's very weird. I'm going to do something with this for her. I'm going to make something for her. It's gorgeous. That's gorgeous, Chelsea. Oh, the other thing in there. What is the other thing in there? Oh, yay. Oh, yay. Oh, yay. Oh, yay. I've been kind of waiting for some of this. I've been meaning to get some before I do some more of this. Oh my gosh, it's a whole bag. I get so excited about the little things, you guys. This is That's right, Alice. That's right. Nope, they didn't melt, Chels. They're good. This is for diamond painting. I cleaned up my area back here, you guys, so I have my stuff is right here. That box right there, that has all my supplies for my diamond painting stuff in it. And the one I'm working on is standing straight up. I might get that out tonight, and do some diamond painting. I'll show you guys these in a minute. These are lipsticks. That's what I'm thinking, Steve. Where is my mouse? Ooh. That's kind of what I was thinking exactly. Yes. So those are those little hearts. It's wax, and so you take your diamond painting pen and you put it in the wax, and then that's how you pick up each of the little diamonds to put it on the diamond painting. Well, I'll have to show y'all what it is. So which one? Let's do this one. Oh, if y'all can see, it says Heartbreaker. This is Lip Sense. And also, oh, I don't think this one's been open. Also, I don't know if you guys know. Already did it wrong. Oh, can't do that. Hopefully. So there we go. There is evidence, at least pretty good evidence, that if you wear lipstick when you are doing a presentation or like speaking here on camera, that people can read your lips easier if you have lipstick on. So okay. Next. I think I'm going to show you guys how to do this on camera. Okay. Oh, that's the small one. These are what Chelsea's been making. Of course, this one is mine. This is the Crazy Eights dishcloth by Simply Notable. Maybe this one's mine. And this color right here, she sent me one, is the Craft Smart. No, I always say that. Crafter's Secret Cotton. And it is called Turquoise Rainbow Bridge. That suits me perfect. And this lip sense will stay on, what is it, 8 hours, Chelsea? So it won't get on my cup or anything else. And then this one at the fairgrounds, is this right? That's this color. I showed you guys this. I was using it on, what was I using this on? I was using it on something. And Chelsea went out and got it. And this is the small version of that. So I may be showing you guys how to do this as I'm knitting one night. Gosh, that's even prettier in person, Chelsea. Okay. Now we got shirts because Chelsea and the boys decided they would make everybody shirts as an activity together. So they were making them for themselves, and and then Chelsea's making hers and her husband Orlando, and they made shirts for me and Mr. Fiber. So I'll show you mine first. And they're tie-dye. And there's different, she was experimenting with different techniques of tie-dye. And then she put a what do you call that? Forget what you call it. An iron-on. I got Tweety Bird. Isn't that great? I know. Wait. I'm trying to figure out what he said. No lipstick, but he said, oh, I think he meant chapstick. And then Mr. Fiber, here's his. And this one was called, wasn't this was called the swirl technique, Chelsea? And he got Darth Vader. They turned out so good. I love them. I love both of them. Oh, I love all this blue and blue and teal and rainbow together. That's so me. And then I was like, because guess what? What is that? Oh. She's hiding stuff in here. She found more of those hooks that I love. I have that J hook that I've been using that has the wooden handle. Now I want to go see if they have some more on sale. It's the Yarnology. And it's the wooden handle. These feel really good on my hands. His is swirl and mine is color burst. Thank you. Thank you. So I got that's a K and a G. It's got the silver. And an I, which is the red. Looks kind of like a coppery red. It's a red. This one is, oh, that's pretty. This is the H. It's almost like a hematite. And these are, the reason I like these is because they're not the Susan Bates. These are the boy type. Thank you, Chels. I'm so excited to have these. And what did this come off of, Chels? It fell in there. You want me to send it back? Stricken kann süchtig machen. Knitting can be addictive. Es Chapeau Strick Award. Prämierte Objekte aus dem Chapeau Strick Award. Schau mir in die Augen, Kleines. Dahinter geht's Benzo. Oh, that's the yarn I bought. Okay, we'll talk about that later. But something fun in here. Look. Oh, look. There's Oliver's side. And there's Solomon's side. Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. Boys, thank you so much. That's from them. That's for my birthday. I love that. That's the best thing. And coffee, community coffee. We've got the decaf. And then this one is the vanilla. Gosh, disgusting. I'm going to have some of this in a minute. This is so good. There's that one. And then there's 2 more of the French vanilla. What a good box. What a good box. I love it all. Thank you, Chelsea. I love it all. So cool. Oh. I'll have to make those crazy 8s like you and show how to do it. No, you didn't get blocked. I know. Coffee. Coffee, 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 coffee. Coffee, 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 coffee. Y'all know what that's from? Coffee, 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 coffee. Whew, I'm almost at 2 hours, you guys. What is it with this? We see you. We see you, Cindy. Oh, thank you. It is, isn't it? That's the best. Isn't that the best? I love it. I love it. That is going on my keychain. Does it? You get knocked out? What does that mean, Steve? Let's analyze this. Thank you guys so much for being here. I hope you enjoyed this wrap up, this recap. Again, I will try to remember after this goes live to put all the stuff down below. So we've got that video is the most important thing, and Peter Hyatt's website. Is there anything else you guys want me to put in? If I don't and you have questions, just go ahead and email me, BarbaraFloozieCrafts@gmail.com. And I'll try to answer your questions or put up a link if you need it or send you the link if you need it. So thank you guys so much. And for those of you who are lurking and watching, I appreciate all of you. For anyone who is watching this on replay, thank you so very much. I hope that you enjoyed it and that you will subscribe. Please hit the like button. Just know that YouTube is funny about notifications, but if you have it on, you're more likely to get notified when I'm live. And check out the playlist. Oh, good. I'm glad you guys enjoyed this. I will tell you a few things. I didn't want to go all out into all of that. It's difficult for me to do the newsy things. So the ones that I did last week and last few weeks have been weighing on me a lot. And I know that it's been tough on you guys to watch too. So I have felt more like we're going to get back to things like this, where we can sit and discuss these things and more telling a story of the case and discussing it that way. And I want to apply to it stories from my own life and stories that I think will resonate with you guys when it comes to understanding the deception, understanding the body language, and moving more towards all of that, being more aware, having that situational awareness. So that's the plan. Okay. Oh, thank you, Joan. That's high praise for me. Yeah, me too. Oh, wonderful. Wonderful. You guys are right in there with me. You're welcome, Tammy. I will check. I will check, Rosie. Thank you again, everybody. Well, you enjoy. Family comes first, Lori. You enjoy. No problem at all. Thank you. You stayed the whole night, Steve. I kept your attention. I'm really glad. Thank you very much. And most of you have been here the entire night, and I really appreciate that. Thank you very, very much. Okay, you guys, I'm going to go. Good night, Solomon. Good night, Oliver. Good night, Chelsea. Good night, Carrie. Good night, Sailor. Okay. And thank you to my moderators, my new ones, all of mine, all of my old ones. I'm an old one now. I love you guys and have fun today, okay? Thank you, Adele. I knew you were there. I knew you were there. Thank you so much. Bye, y'all.